Blessing Soul Family. This is the Bio Quantum Podcast, and I am so excited about our guest today. I have Rebecca Dupree, and she is truly on the cutting edge of ascending creativity and bringing in that element of laughter and fun through her work. And she has a show called Dial Mom, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that. But I'm going to have you introduce yourself, Rebecca, and then we'll
Yep.
go into this beautiful conversation. I just see a lot of things unfolding here.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So my name is Rebecca Dupree. Yes, I have a web series called Dial Mom for Murder. It's Dial Mom for short. And the idea behind it is that this woman, a local woman in Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm from, she went missing. She was in an MLM, which is a multi-level marketing. I think most of us are familiar with those. And she was at a work retreat and she went missing. And so about a year ago now, I released the pilot episode of this show, and it's a comedy. And one of the really cool aspects of it is it's collaborative. So it's happening kind of in real time across various social media channels. And so the audience weighs in with theories or, really anything. And so it's being written in real time as the show progresses, which makes it really easy for me because I don't have to plan it all out in advance, and also really fun because it's shifting and evolving and going where it needs to go, and it's already changed course in ways completely unexpected by me so many times, which has been kind of the fun and the magic of it. Um, so that's kind of an intro, I think, to what Dial Mom is. And so yeah, that's I'll start with that.
Okay, this is so amazing. I'm just having all these flashbacks of we had an
Yeah.
interview last year, and I'll put the link for that in the show notes. So if anybody missed that, you can go back and see that. Uh, and I'm remembering the characters and kind of the plot of what was happening. But before we go into that, I want to talk about what's happened for you over this last year. Like you say, it's okay, lots of twists and turns, what you weren't expecting. I mean, isn't that the ascension process? Is that we allow and it will take us in that direction. So I just want to hear about what some of those things were, how you experienced them, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm already getting chills before we're even starting to talk about this. So, um, I literally just this past Friday, so Dial Mom has definitely the process of creating it has absolutely been an ascension journey for me. And I had information coming through on Friday that it's a new earth portal. Like this, the energy of this show, and the creative sort of endeavor, it's hard to even call it a show. That the frequency of it has been purified. So over the course of the past year, it's really been sort of purifying the more dense aspects, for example, that I was holding in regards to I want to make money. I want to get seen. I want to get validation. I want to get approval. All of those things that I was sort of holding in my own frequency have, because the container itself is so um I guess of such a high frequency, it's like sort of buffed all of that stuff out. And so the information I was getting was like that all kind of had to happen before an audience was going to start coming in, before different things were going to start happening, because it is such a powerful container, right? I needed to be able to hold it in a space that could stay really pure before a bunch of other eyes and opinions and et cetera started coming in. And so that's from sort of a 50,000 foot level what's been happening over the past year. Of course, I didn't know that. And I literally just, like I said, got a download like on Friday, probably for this conversation, that was showing me all the things that had been happening and a little bit about what's coming. And one of the first things that started happening with it, which was a complete surprise to me. So you'll notice if you go watch the first episode, there's two main characters, and both of them are played by me. And the main reason for that was necessity and the fact that I didn't think anybody else was going to want to do this. Like maybe people would follow it online and they would say things in the comments and that they would interact with it kind of passively, but I would be in the driver's seat. I would be pushing it forward. I'd be playing most of the characters. And almost immediately, people started asking me if they could be in it, like if they could be a character in it. And so that was the first major surprise. And it's just continued and continued and continued. And so sort of the cast of characters is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's cool because since there's this MLM element, really it can get as big as it wants to get. It's kind of infinite the number of people that can like physically play in it.
Mm.
And so that's been a really, really, really fun piece. And just the level of support and collaboration and openness. And I think we're just all so ready to just have fun and to be silly and not worry so much like what we look like. And that's all the things that this really brings to the forefront is just play and community and adults having fun together. And I feel like we just don't have that many spaces for that. And so it's really like taken off locally, kind of sort of like wildfire. And that's been just so beautiful to see. It's been, like I said, I'm still surprised by it every time somebody new was like, I want to be involved, I want to do this. And so that's been just so cool. And everybody that does it is like, that was so much fun. And I didn't know what to expect, but it was just so much fun and just a really, experience that we don't allow ourselves to have all the time, just to be silly.
Okay, I have to know how that looks. So, is it something where everybody shows up in a location and you just throw a script out there?
That's such a good question. Okay, so the other piece that happened this year was I knew I needed to grow a social media audience. So I had my web series and I had, my friends and family that were watching it. We threw even a party. Everybody came and watched the pilot episode. I had an audience, a wonderful audience of about 200 people. But I knew in order for it to become self-sustaining, ever become anything bigger, I needed to get a larger audience. And social media is so interesting. I actually think social media is teaching us spherical time because people right now don't follow things linearly on social media. It's all like to have a narrative, which is what I'm trying to create, is very difficult right now on social media because it's just not what it's made for, right? There's every piece of content you watch is fully a beginning, middle, and end. So you don't need to know what came before it and you don't need to know what came after. And so I had to come up with a format that would both be a part of the story and tell the entire story kind of at the same time. And so the format we came up with was something called that was already happening on TikTok was these home tours. This guy in New York would approach people on the street and he'd say, "What do you pay for rent in New York City?" And they would give him a tour of their apartment. And so we came up with the idea of my investigator character. They're trying to solve, this disappearance of her dressing up as a TikToker, approaching people on the street, saying, "What's your home worth in Charleston, South Carolina?" And then them giving her a tour of their home. And that's her way of investigating these suspects that she couldn't get to otherwise. And so it's all happening via home tours. So the first couple of people approached me, and then oftentimes I'll ask different people, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?" And there's no script. It's all completely improvised. They tell me what character they want to play. I've yet to have somebody that didn't already have a fully formed character in mind. They tell me what the character's name is. And then I say, "Okay, I'm going to show up to your house at, 9 o'clock on this day. And I want you to be dressed however this character would be dressed at that time of day. and we're going to go through your house. And I'm going to be Bev, my private investigator, and you're going to be whoever it is that you're playing. And so everybody gets a chance to improvise, everybody gets a chance to be a character, um, albeit within the safety of their own home, so they know, they already know their home. So it's not completely difficult in that way. Although a couple people I have put in different houses. I've said, your character is going to go here because somebody will say, I would love to volunteer my home, but I want to do it. And I'll have somebody else say, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it in my house. So there's been a lot of play with the whole thing, but that's how we've done it. And then some of those characters that have come through the home tours will have entire scripted episodes. So we're still working on, the scripted kind of narrative side as well. I have an amazing cinematographer who helps me shoot those. But that process is also getting bigger because we've got more characters now. So there's more people and, we're going to new locations. And so it really feels like it's it's at this point, I feel like at this like tipping point where I think it's really about to blow up. So everybody that's following it now, y'all are going to have such a fun time seeing how it has evolved and how it continues to evolve because I think as much as my mind has already been blown, I'm getting the sense that it's like about to just blow my mind even more.
That is so exciting. And I love how all of this has came to this place of the home tours. And I'm like, okay, how have I been missed this? I need to go check out. So you're saying TikTok, is that the place where most people are watching?
So TikTok was just absolutely blowing up. That's where it started. And then literally in the past couple of weeks, TikTok has stopped doing anything and now it's all blowing up on Instagram and Facebook. And what's funny is Facebook, through some glitch, it's literally posting through my personal account to Facebook because of the way it was linked to my Instagram. And so I can barely even see what's happening on Facebook. Like I get notifications that I'm getting comments and I'm getting new followers, but on Instagram I'm interacting on a lot and on TikTok I'm interacting a lot and Facebook is just its own world, which I think is kind of by design because one of the things that's been really interesting, I don't know how many people on this call are spending a lot of time on social media, but social media has the entire spectrum of the general population.
Mhm.
And a lot of people on social media are angry and they're mad and they're negative. And so that's one of the things that I think I've been in a little bit of a training ground for because the comments that I get really run the gambit in terms of their loving kindness towards me and what it is I'm doing and their understanding of what I'm doing and whether they think it's funny and whether they understand it all at all. And it's so interesting because that was one of the things I was getting in my download is like you really cannot take these comments personally and in your ability to be a container for all of it and just keep doing what you're doing at a really pure frequency, it's going to start to like turn all of that inside out. And people are going to be surprised at their own experience of going from not understanding what this is and having a lot of negative energy towards it to having their mind opened to, oh, actually, this is something that's really cool and really fun.
Mhm.
So that'll be another fun thing to follow along because I think we're going to see the comments really change over the course of the thing. Because right now it's like I said, it's a lot of like negativity, and a lot of just a lot of what you see on social media. And I think this is going to be a really nice vehicle to see how a community can really, work to like the word that's coming to me is almost purify itself, and we can uplift each other together and make that the new standard for how we interact with each other and how we communicate with each other and how we collaborate with each other. So I'm really excited for all of it.
I just put a post out today on my social media about what exactly about what you're saying is that we either can contribute into the chaos by adding more chaos, or we can hold the resonance of where we're moving to, right? That there's this beautiful frequency that's coming in, and that is what it is to be a way shower, but also it's to be a way shower to do what you're doing, is that regardless of how it's received, to keep it in that pure space and inviting people to meet you there. So I just want to honor you for that because I know that that's not easy. But one thing that I used to do when there was like negative comments is I would say, bless them. I would bless them, let them open up and receive the frequency of source and experience life from that space. And then I would just move on, right? Because the reflection was a place to bring the light. And so that was my way of bringing the light when there wasn't, it's not worth putting anything for them to come back to. But I also want to say, and I don't know if you've had this experience, there's opportunity to meet them in a place of grace where it's not saying that their experience was wrong, but in just inviting them into a new perspective. And so that was always kind of fun of how can I meet this in a new perspective to, and most of the time they just wouldn't respond, right? Because it's like, well, how do I respond to that? It's kind of like when we break the loop, it's broken.
It's so interesting that you say that, and that's one of the absolutely magical things about comedy and laughter is it really goes quite far, because if you're obviously if you're in a space of antagonism or I don't like this and whatever, if just a little bit of lightheartedness can like pierce that shell, it usually opens everything up. And I think that's why I've been so drawn to comedy. Anybody that knows me knows I also tend to be very serious and both analytical and introspective. And it's like I needed a very tangible, kind of visceral outlet for joy and lightheartedness. And it's interesting because I look back on it and I'm like, my higher self had to go to like really great lengths to like get me this like I took improv classes and I was doing all of these various things to make sure that I had a really protected space in my life for joy and for play and for that vulnerability that you don't experience in any other way and that connection that you don't experience in any other way. So I think we're going to see it more and more and more like used as a tool of transformation because it's so fun, and it's like I think we kind of wake up at some point to the fact of like, why aren't we having more fun? Like I'm doing all this spiritual work. I'm like working on all these things. And I've definitely over the past year come to a point in my journey where it's just all become so joyful and so playful. And Jules, to your point about the kind of I do think we're in this space of like two realities right now, and but even that's kind of fun, because it's like I'm playing in this very unique space in human history where I'm choosing. I mean, talk about a collaboration, like choose your own adventure, like I'm choosing the adventure for my own life in real time. And I feel like we are just being empowered as creative beings beyond how we ever have been before. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just all getting really fun. And I think the more fun you can have with it and the more you can give yourself space to laugh, like it just makes it so much easier, because you're automatically out of that space of trying so hard and forcing and all of that. You can't do any of that when you're laughing and when you're playing.
I absolutely love that. And even if it's just what it what is the moment of joy? Like where is the joy in each moment? Maybe would be a better way of saying that. And that's a frequency, right? Joy or just seeing the beauty in something is a frequency. And that goes back to that space of purity that you're talking about. And can I hold this in a place of purity and then let it be informed? And that takes a lot of spiritual discipline. And I just want to honor you for that because it is really easy in this chaotic world, especially when you start tapping into social media to it's kind of maybe get pulled to how can I make everybody happy and how can I make everybody like me kind of energy. You see that a lot, right? And where if we have something to offer, and you definitely do, and I can't wait to, we're going to get there in just a minute when you go into character and have a lot of fun with that. But that is it's your gift, right? You're opened yourself up as a channel. You're allowing that to flow through you, and you're making changes in the world and you're bringing people joy and happiness. And gosh, what an amazing gift to be able to give. So, so much honor to you. Well, before we go into experiencing your characters, do you want to give us a little bit of a, I don't know, an introductory to the characters and so that we have something to kind of play on when we get to Q&A?
Sure, yes. Okay, so I have a couple of characters that I thought we would play with, partly because I'm like my sinuses are so bad and I already have a low voice. So I was like, I got to give my characters with the low register on board for today. So one of them is my private investigator. Her name's Bev. She was with me the last time we had an interview, Jules. And this will be a fun thing to talk about before we start to, these characters. So I did improv before I ever thought I was making a web series. And on a couple of occasions, like characters literally arose fully formed in my body. And Bev is one of those. And the other one I'm bringing forward today, Suzanne, is also one of those. And what's interesting is they really are like very distilled aspects of parts of who I am, or at least parts of who I've been at some point. So Bev is a know-it-all. She knows everything. She really believes in herself. She thinks she's highly competent and that, she's going to figure it out before everyone else. And maybe, she's not so good at owning her weaknesses or, being vulnerable or any of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, but she's also, she's got a big heart and she's had to do a lot on her own. She's very self-taught. She's, a woman that's kind of been trained up in the streets, like I know a lot of us have. And so she's super fun because you kind of see all the aspects of her. And then Suzanne, my other character, so the woman who went missing, her name is Teensy Peterson. This woman, Suzanne, that you're going to meet as well, is Teensy's aunt. And Suzanne is an heiress to a Southern tea fortune. Her name is Suzanne Louisiane, and she's an heiress to the Louisiane tea fortune. So she's very wealthy, and she's a party girl. She loves like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically. Um, but she is obviously very interested in finding out what happened to her niece. But at the same time, isn't that worried about it. She's not really letting it get in the way of how she's spending her time, her lifestyle, etc. And so obviously you can see those are two very different characters. But it's funny because neither one of them did I sit down one day and say like, oh, I want a character that's going to do this and going to do this. Literally both of them were created in response to like an improv suggestion I got, and it was just like I started talking and I was like, somebody new is here. Like I don't know who this is, but she's going to hang out with me for a while. And when that happens, it's just so amazing. And so I keep those people around and I just continue to develop them. But when y'all start asking questions, this definitely happened on the last time. I always end up learning something because I don't know everything about these people or their histories or what's going on with them. And so as people ask questions and it comes out, I learn a lot. And um, speaking of the comments, that's been, that is how the story is being written. So many of the most fun ideas I've gotten have been through something somebody says in the comments because people come up with things I would have never thought of. And so it's just really fun to be able to play in this way that I can just trust that I've got a huge team of both spiritual help and human help, and we're all writing this together, and we're all just enjoying it together.
I love it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll let you get into character, and I'm going to
Okay,
bring it into gallery. So take your
I'm
time.
gonna go off just for 1 second because I'm gonna put on a wig.
Perfect. All right. So when she comes back, have your questions all ready. I don't know who she's going to be when she comes on. It'll either be Bev or Susan. So we know a little bit about them. Be thinking about a question that we can ask. And then it just gets really funny because we just kind of go with it, right? I'm already laughing and it hasn't even happened yet. It's just fun to see how she shifts. It's like she becomes somebody else, which is really fun too. So anybody that didn't see the first episode with Rebecca, definitely check that out. And like I said, I'll put it in the show notes. This will probably go live tomorrow on YouTube and maybe Wednesday of the podcast. So and you'll see the links there as well. Well, while we're waiting for her to come back, maybe just if you have a kind of a question in mind and want to share so that other people can think of questions. Or the first question that I want to ask, I'll start, is going to be, if there's been any new information that's come in since the last time that we saw them. I guess that would just be Bev. Oh, it looks like
What's
Bev's in.
up? What's that, Jules?
Well, we're just so happy to have you here. We were just sitting here talking about look at, I'm like changing I'm changing the way I talk. We were wondering, since we saw you last, and first, I just am so honored to have you back with us. And, we've been just so concerned about TT, and I'd love to hear if there's any new information, anything new that's come out since we've seen you last.
Yeah, well, first I'm gonna say don't be intimidated. I'm good cop today. I'm not here to interrogate anybody. As far as I know, y'all are a group of friends. So don't don't be concerned, Jules. You can just speak freely. We've learned a lot about what was going on with Teensy. Um, some of it I can speak to, some of it I've been told I probably shouldn't share. But her husband's a prime suspect, as the husband always is, Frank Peterson. He's from somewhere in Europe originally, so that's already suspicious if you ask me. Um, some people agree with me, some people don't. So he's a suspect. Uh, her family is crazy, you guys. Her husband, I've already mentioned, she has a twin sister, Bunny, who's wackadoodle. And then her mom also has a twin sister. And these three ladies are fruitier than a fruitcake. Okay. So I'm honestly not going to be surprised if this is like a full-on conspiracy of multiple actors that had something to do with it. I will tell you, I practice bird medicine, and I've been speaking to the birds. And they've told me Teensy is alive.
Mm,
And I'm taking that as fact because I've never once been led astray by a red-tailed hawk.
mm.
So I think we can rest easy in that regard. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too. I'm tapping in. Um, does anybody have a question? I don't want to keep Sandy.
Mhm. Let me ask you, Bev, what kind of multi-level marketing was she in?
Oh, Sandy, that's one hell of a question.
Mm,
Okay. The name of the company is the Total Package. All right. And that the reason that's the name is because they're giving you everything they can possibly sell you to give you a glow up on the inside and the outside.
mm,
Cosmetics, all sorts of vitamin and minerals, um, and then all sorts of self-help stuff. They had multiple gurus and, all sorts of people on their staff, and they're trying to empower these ladies to both, look better, but also take a bunch of stuff so that I guess their insides are going to be better. And then they're going to be able to manifest whatever it is they want to manifest. So Teensy's team that she was on was Team Manifest the Best.
mm.
And they were all about vision boards and all of this kind of stuff. I don't believe in any of it. But that's what the total package is.
That's very interesting that you told me, Bev. But what comes to mind is that somebody so desperate of buying every product that they could possibly sell her and didn't get any results, she might have been very, very angry. Did you ever look into that possibility?
Okay, Sandy, you're blowing my mind a little bit with this. I'll tell you, I've not thought about this. The angle I was going with was the total package is I'm on a softball team. And when I join a softball team, we're a team, right? We're lifting each other up. We're cheering each other on. Somebody misses a catch, somebody misses a hit every once in a while. It's no big deal. We are a team. We win together, we lose together. The total package, no, hell no, none of that. It
Mm,
was so competitive. It's dog eat dog. It's what are your numbers? What are my numbers? Who's getting to the top of the literal pyramid first? Okay. So those poor girls were at each other's throats. They're calling it female empowerment, but they're all tearing each other down.
mm,
So I've been trying to piece apart, okay, where are the alliances? Who's the top earner? Who's got their eye on who? Who's trying to win the pink Mercedes or whatever it is? I have not looked into disgruntled customers, but that's yet another motive for somebody coming after Teensy because she was a very, very productive seller on the team.
Thank you for that information. I mean, and you've given me information as far as the team being very competitive. I mean, it just feels like I have no idea what's going on with her husband, and the information that you gave me as far as her family, they're just crazy. Um, I don't think just because they've been crazy all their lives that they would get crazier and do something to teensy, but you never know. But it
I
feels like, your suspects right now are just across the board.
They're everywhere. I mean, I have my work cut out for me, and I agree with you. Her family, I'm no stranger to a crazy family. Okay. I mean, my family's also insane, and we haven't killed each other yet. We haven't kidnapped each other yet. So that's a fair point. That's not in and of itself reason to say they definitely had something to do with it. But I don't know. I don't know. Every day I think I know who did it. I get another hit that somebody else has so much motive to get in there and you know, get aggressive with Teensy in some way. So hopefully the truth comes out one of these days.
I have
You
a
bet.
question.
And Kathy has a question, and maybe she has some reflection on what we just said.
Does Teensy have any children?
Teensy does have two children. We are trying to keep the kids out of this as much as possible. But she does have two children, and she was kind of an influencer before she went missing. So she kind of is one of those people that put her whole family out there as like, we have the best family, we have the best house, we have the best life in the world. And what I'm coming to find is some of that was false. First of all, where is she? Right? That's point A. But second of all, is some of these relationships that she was holding out as being like so good were. So let that be a lesson to if there's any kids out there watching, speaking of kids, you guys, everything you see on the internet, it's not true. So somebody you may think has it all together, their life looks so good. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So go into your own life and find your own treasure. That's free. That piece of advice is on the house.
I don't know how to raise my hand, but I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm not on screen. I hope that doesn't make me too suspicious. I really want to circle back to your bird medicine. And do you have any knowledge if Teensy, her family, or her multi-level marketing team also practice bird medicine? Because is there any way of identifying if their messages could be interfering? Like, can you muscle test with that red hawk and say, is this message really from the red hawk, or are they interfering? Is it really from one of the members who were on her team?
Or you're saying maybe she's programmed like a crow that's coming and running interference with this hawk I'm talking to, that maybe I'm getting fed bad information by my bird.
I mean, I don't know. It's a question I had. I mean, how well versed are you to be able to test with, where was your bird medicine school? Did they teach you how to find out if it was legitimate bird communication or interference?
It was just a dude in the woods named Tommy. And I don't know, I would love to ask him this. He certainly didn't warn me that some malcontent bird talker could interfere with my messages. So maybe I'll track Tommy down and ask him. I will tell you, I have not noticed any sort of, excess bird interest on the part of anybody in Teensy's family. Usually you can spot somebody that's really into birds because they're just always looking for them.
Right.
I've not noticed that. What I will say, and I heard Suzanne's going to be on here later, they do have a whole team of people working for them. She has a psychic, for one. She has various health and wellness gurus. So in that's the flip side of what I'm saying is that maybe I wouldn't put it past them to have, somebody who does practice bird medicine on their staff. So you're kind of bumming me out with that question. But I do feel like I should probably run it to ground because if somebody's messing with my hawk, that's just going to put the whole thing in jeopardy, including just my own faith in birds.
Maybe
So
to Tommy.
yeah, I'll have to look him up somehow.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know how that goes. I can feel a vibe there. All right, Sean, let's have you jump in before Susan comes in.
So, Bev, I hear there's a rumor of this 963 frequency floating around the whole case. I'm just wondering if you can give us a little enlightenment about what's happening there.
Uh, we're an 843. We're an 843 area
You're at
code.
843. Okay.
Yeah, that's the area code. I haven't seen I remember everything. I don't think I've seen a single 963. Um, what is that? Like Topeka?
That might be the
It's the same place where that your bird was getting the information.
Birds don't have phone numbers.
Uh,
They're
Susan
they're
knows. Maybe this is a question for Susan. Tap into her psychic.
you want y'all ready to talk to Suzanne?
Yeah, if she can. But before you go, this has been like I feel that that vibe that came in with your connection to the hawk, and definitely let us know if you get some information there, and maybe we'll ask Suzanne.
Hey, thanks. I really actually I'm gonna just end by saying I appreciate that nobody laughed at me when I said I'm talking to birds. Sometimes people do. So, y'all are good people. And I feel like every single one of those questions, it's not even just what you say, it's in how you say it. And I can tell like y'all, your hearts are in the right place. And I appreciate that. And thank you for having me.
It was our honor. Thank you. All right, so we'll give it just a second and Suzanne come in. So bird medicine, I have to say, I I do bird medicine. I think I'm assuming it's similar to animal medicine, right? That all the animals have a frequency and they have a personality and they have medicine. And even as far as to say that the located Coda medicine woman that I worked with could shapeshift, and her animal spirit was an eagle, and she would turn into an eagle and fly. Her spirit name was Eva White Desert Eagle, and she used, I would say, bird medicine to that frequency of 963. She could literally particle shift in conscious form. So yes, animals are messengers for sure. I even domestic animals. I'm babysitting Sage or Rose's or Sage's cats. Rose, that's what I call them. Sage's cats right now. And they talk. They always have the most interesting things to say. It's a lot of fun. And they talk with Roger too, my dog. It's fun to watch them interact. The little one, Jeannie B, loves him way more than he loves her. But she'll go over and start licking his nose, and he'll like open his eyes and his little eyes go cross-eyed. And then he gets all like and she will just stay there, and she'll get her little paw and put it on his, and she doesn't back away even when he kind of gives her some noises. So she's telling him like, I want to be your friend, like let me come over and bathe you. It's just the sweetest thing. So all right, so Tansy still missing after all this time. All right, here comes Suzanne. Ooh,
oh, there she is.
she's
Hey, y'all.
how are you, beautiful? Thank you for
I'm
showing
fabulous.
up.
It's Monday, 4 p.m. I'm doing great.
I'm sure you are. Well, so where do we start? We just talked to Bev, and there was something that came up about burn medicine and how you have a psychic on staff. And I'd love to kind of go in that direction of what you're doing with some of these talents and gifted people that you have come in to help find Teensy.
Yes. Okay, that's a great question. I don't know anything about birds, but I have an amazing psychic Her name's Prairie Dove Fields, and she's incredible. She works for me, she works for the total package. She can read anybody's energy. She can tell you just about anything you want to know. Has she found Teensy yet? No. Has she given us some very good ideas as to what may have happened? Perhaps. We are going to have several more sessions in an attempt to find out what happened to Teensy. Um, so that's Prairie Dove. I am nothing if not a modern woman. So if there's some something out there that is going to help me to be more beautiful, more fabulous, have more fun, help my family, help me find Teensy, you can bet I'm going to go and I'm going to track it down and I'm going to make use of it. So yes, I do have a psychic, and yes, she is fabulous. I also have a personal Pilates trainer. I also have a personal bartender. Um, you know, I like to treat people right, and I like people to treat me right. So I surround myself with good people, and I don't know about any birds.
Well, let's talk about some of the information that has come through with Prairie Dove. I'd like to hear how many sessions have you had with her?
Well, Prairie Dove and I, we speak at least a couple times a week. I'm asking her really all sorts of things. Um, what should I have for lunch today? Who should I play bridge with on Thursday?
Okay.
Because y'all can tell just from looking at me, I'm very beautiful. Um, and that's come with doing a lot of things right. I do use several of the total package products. They've all been blessed by any number of people, so they're good in that way. But I also have remained sort of this beautiful by making sure I'm doing all the right things that I'm not going to get hurt.
Mhm. Well, let's open it up. Does anybody have a question, Kathy?
Was Teensy anything like you? Because I'm feeling it's going downhill with you guys, and looking for this wonderful being that's sitting right here, Suzanne. I just feel that you just have your pulse on the heartbeat of the world. I could see that in you.
Thank you, Kathy. Not everybody recognizes that. Teensy did have a lot of characteristics that I possess, and that's why I think Teensy's just fine. Because you know what? I've been through quite a few marriages. I've been through quite a few business breakups, and I come out on top every time. So I have a feeling that we're going to find out. Teensy, maybe Teensy masterminded all this herself. Maybe she just needed a break, like we all do. And she's off at a retreat center somewhere, getting a year-long mud bath. Um, it could be. And I don't think it's all downhill. I think the success and fortune of our family will only be on the rise and on the increase. Yes, Sandy.
Suzanne, one of the things that Bev shared with us is that Teensy's husband was a major suspect. And being that your family, you would know more than anybody else that relationship and why he would even be a suspect. Did you know of any friction of anything? Was he a faithful husband? Was he a good father? What are the things that we don't know that you might know?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's a man. So there's your first problem. Um, Men are good for one thing, and that's sexual pleasure. I have no idea how he did in any department. I do know, it's my understanding that Teensy was the primary breadwinner in that relationship. I think they kept separate finances, and from what I understand, she had her husband on a budget. He got an allowance. Um, so some men don't like that. Some men want to be the top dog. So who knows? Maybe she was worth more to him out of the family than in. I don't know. We don't talk really. We are a very close family when it comes to what people like to drink, what they like to put on their face, what clothes they want to wear. We don't talk so much about what's going on the inside, right? You save that for your guru. You save that for when you're in the teepee, sweating it all out in a sweat lodge between just you and the person you're sweating with. It's not something we talk about around the family dinner table. So I can't say that I do know all that much about the intricacies of her relationship with her husband.
That's surprising, being that you were so close and you were not a confidant when if she was unhappy in any way.
Hey, people know what they come to Suzanne for, okay? If you need a pick me up, I got a little pocket of pills, all right? And Teensy knew exactly what to come to her Aunt Suzanne for. I am good at a lot of things. Relationship advice is not one of them, okay? And I'm very upfront with that. So she had no reason to tell me about what was going on with her husband. She gonna come to somebody that's been divorced 6 times and get marital advice? I think that she would be an idiot to do that.
Thank you for your frank comment. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have a question for Suzanne? All right.
John, I'm looking at you. I can tell you're thinking something.
He's still trying to get over his job in the world.
Hey, it's not all bad.
Kathy, did you have another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that it was not that it was a downward spiral. It was that you're so up here that it's
Oh,
like coming down to talk to Bev and stuff. That's what I meant by that.
hey, thank you for clarifying that. For a second, thank you for saying that. Um, I've uh I've had to interact with a lot of people I don't normally interact with as part of this investigation. And it's been quite interesting. As I'm sure y'all know, this is actually my first time publicly addressing the case. Most of the time, I pretend like it didn't even happen. Other than when, I'm doing everything I can to solve it. But I'm also doing a lot of self-medicating on the rest of the time and just going about my business. So I have also been advised, I have a team of attorneys. They don't think it's wise for me to be out just talking about all my business, my family's business, etc. But I did hear that this was a safe space, and that you were a group of people that were committed to finding out the truth. And I thought, well, I can get on board with that because I am nothing if not devoted to finding out the truth of what happened. And I think y'all can tell I'm a straight shooter. I'm not trying to hide anything. Um, so I'm on the same page with everybody else. We're just trying to get to the bottom of it. And if I can help, I'm trying to do that. And so that's why I'm willing today to be a part of this conversation.
Well, we so appreciate that. And, all things aside, we can feel your devotion to, and how lucky that you have the ability to bring in these talented, wise people to help with that.
Yes. I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. I have a great endowment. And, it allows me to have the best of the best. And I will say, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything I have. I appreciate all the people that work for me. And I'm not shy about the fact that I deserve it. I deserve it all. And I think we need more women like this in the world, quite frankly. I think we're all too many shrinking violets, too many I can't stand up for what it is I want. And and in fact, I do wonder because Teensy did have that aspect that I have of being very willing to stand up for who she was and path and forging her own path forward. And sometimes people can be intimidated
Yeah.
and they want to silence strong women. And you know what I have to say to that? You're never going to silence me.
Amen, sister. Well, I feel like this is a good place if just to kind of give you the floor one more time, Suzanne, if there's anything else that you would like to share before we get off today.
I just want to say thank you all for being here. This has been a lovely party. It was a little bit dry for my taste, but the company was delightful. Everybody brought a little something to the table in terms of the conversation, in terms of your beautiful faces, and even the black squares. I appreciate you being here because I can feel uh, that you are trying to help me find my niece. And you know what? That's not nothing because we're all very busy. We're being pulled in a bunch of directions. And so I appreciate you giving me the gift of your time today. And I will personally send everybody a little something in the mail. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Maybe it'll be a little tea bag. Maybe it'll be a little Fozempic Fat Blaster sample. Um, Maybe it'll be a couple of pills with some instructions. I don't know. But y'all be looking out, everybody drop your addresses. And that will be my thank you for y'all hosting me today.
We so appreciate that. All right, so we will do that. And then, uh, Rebecca, would you like to just kind of let us know how we can continue to follow these fun characters? And I can't wait to see the home tours. Like, this is so fun.
Yeah, the home tours are really fun and you get to see other people besides just me, which is super exciting. The best place probably to follow it right now is on Instagram. The handle is dial underscore mom underscore four underscore. I know it's so annoying. I know, Jules, we can put it in the notes as well. But there's also a TikTok, there's a Facebook, there's a Substack, there's a YouTube. But I think right now, everything, if you're on Instagram, which most people seem to be on Instagram, if you're on Instagram, it's a good hub. And if anything is going to happen somewhere else that isn't going to happen on Instagram, you can still find out there.
What's
Amazing.
what's the name of the show, Rebecca?
It's Dial Mom for Murder.
Murder. Okay.
And if you Google that, the YouTube comes up.
Well, we'll put all of those handles in the show notes as well. Thank you, Rebecca, and thanks everyone for your participation in the skit today.
That was so, so fun, you guys. And I really appreciate it. It is really hard to do. Like it feels so vulnerable, but it's so, so fun. And and I keep finding that every space I'm in is just like you guys willing to go there with these crazy ladies and take them at face value and play with them. So I really, really appreciate everybody doing that. It was amazing for me. And I didn't know Bev practiced bird medicine, but now we're gonna have to develop that.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I'm in love with Bev. She's my fave so far. We have a thing.
Yeah.
At each other.
She spends a lot of time in the woods, Jules, and I know you have well, you still do on your hikes and everything, so y'all have that in common for sure.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Rebecca, and everyone for hanging out and participating. We love you, Sean. We don't use you just for sex, so
Yes,
you're
Sean.
good.
Uh, there's nothing like men. I love them so much. And I really appreciate you being such a good sport.
Yeah. We
All
could do this.
right.
We could do this again and really go after it, you
Oh,
know?
I know,
Yeah.
right? I was waiting for you to come back, but
I didn't know how far to go, you know, because I just finished a pilot for an animated sitcom.
How fun
And
is that?
I mean, it's just, I mean, we had what, like 15 characters, I guess it was, and all that. I'd be happy to show it to you sometime.
Oh, I would
we
love
should have
that.
you come on and have an interview about it. Is that something you could do?
Yeah, yeah. I have to tell you though, it's like South Park.
Yeah.
It's major language.
Well,
and
we heard some of the
it's
songs at the
inappropriate.
Sayulita
Oh, that's right.
retreat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
But they're most popular ones.
That's such a good point though, Sean, because I that's definitely the message that I've been getting because for a long time I wrestled with like how is stupid comedy, right? Like how is that of service? And obviously like the joy and whatever, but you know, we're reaching a lot of people through Dial Mom that maybe wouldn't aren't following Jules, you know, who can access. It's just about I think that we're just in that bridging territory, right? You know, where it's like we're in the world doing our jobs, doing the normal things that people do, and it just allows you to be available to anybody who's in resonance, you know, which I think is so cool because I questioned for a long time why I didn't feel driven to be a healer or a teacher or something like that, and instead wanted to just be an idiot. And I've made my peace with it, and now I feel like I'm finally seeing the why, which has been really fun.
Well, it's one of my challenges has been, you know, I had this big hit song that went all over the world called "I Choose Love," right? And the major song in this sitcom is called "Fuck It All," you know. So it's how can the "I Choose Love" guy be the "Fuck It All" guy, you know?
You know,
And you
fuck
just
it
got to meet them
all
where they are,
might
you know.
You know, that's definitely a different person is searching for fuck it all than the person searching for I choose love.
Yeah.
And they need the joy and the 963 as much as
Oh,
anyone.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it was funny. It was interesting. It's like, you know, I've been reading a lot about Jesus and his ministry of sorts, but he met people where they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in a way, that's what we're doing with this. We can still hold the high frequency, but play in the lower realms, right? You
I
know?
I think things like music and comedy and creativity are the perfect bridge, right?
Hmm.
Because we can all um we all know how to be in a creative space even if it's just passively as an audience member, and it's just very um I just think it's really beautiful, you know. So I'm gonna go Google fuck it all. I can't wait to
Well, you
look
won't find
it up.
anything on it yet.
Oh, it's just in
Yeah,
the
it's
show.
in the
Some of
yeah.
us have
We're
heard
actually,
it. Some of it, he played it for us at the Sayulita retreat. Um, was that the same one, Sean, where it was at the very end, it says, okay, now it's back to love. Is that
yeah,
the same?
the whole idea is to let it all out, and then you got to get back to the loving.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the sitcom is called Welcome to Loves, and it's all about being real and then getting back to the loving.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
All right. Well, we can't wait to hear more about that, Sean, because I
sure.
know that that's been a passion project for you. And
Yeah.
I'm interested. I want to see it for sure. So
I
we'll
will
get you
call you
on.
soon. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, thank you again.
All
Congratulations,
right. Love
Rebecca.
you all.
See ya.